Prime Minister, I mean, how you evaluate global solidarity during the COVID-19 pandemic? Because we haven't seen so much the positive sides of that.
Firstly, this issue, the outbreak of the new type of coronavirus or COVID-19 is clearly global issue. So one would expect that the measures should be, let's say, adopted on the global way. But it shows that the most effective and most efficient measures are the measures which are adopted by individual countries, which is a little bit paradoxical, but it is reality. If you look if you look at Europe, which is the continent, which is my neighbors, and so on, and in the framework of European Union, the most measures have been adopted and endorsed by individual countries, not as a common solution or a global solution. The global solutions are coming just now. So thinking about how to assess and how to evaluate the global impact or European impact for individual countries, for the continent, to adopt some measures on the European level. But what's clear, the economy, world economy, global economy stays as a global issue. And if you look, this is very interesting, if you look at the debates on the consequences of this coronavirus outbreak, you cannot look at individual countries. This is very attractive. This is very alluring. The individual countries, my country adopted some measures, and we are talking about the impacts of this coronavirus outbreak just in the framework of the Czech Republic. But the impulses are coming from outside, from the world, from the global economy. The world market are distorted. If you look at the fall of the prices of crude oil, that's pretty clear. If you look at the financial markets, capital markets, what's going on, everything is global with regional and local impacts. So look at the impact and the consequences in the framework of the individual countries. That's very tricky.
But you
and solidarity, by the way, I wouldn't like to forget it, what you have asked me. The solidarity we have been witnessing to the solidarity among nations, among countries, tendencies to help each other with the material help, material support, the face masks, ventilators, and other things which are needed for the treatment of the badly ill people were imported from different corners of the world, sometimes based on free of charge principles. In some cases, in some, let's say, classical trading, but it has worked. Fortunately, this is very good. That's a good signal. That's good signal for the mankind and for the human beings on this planet. This wave of solidarity within countries and among countries.
But the good thing was the Czech Republic that, especially with the medical equipments, because Czech Republic in the region, it seems to be one of the few countries which has its own manufacturer, which is producing pharmaceutical equipments and with medical equipments. And that's why Czech Republic being in a better conditions than any other countries in the Eastern European side. But economy definitely is affecting every part of that. But what do you think about the drop of the oil prices? How it's going to be continuing going on? How do you see, like, you know, in an upcoming future with analysis of perception of oil prices?
First of all, about the situation in the Czech Republic relating to the, or referred to the medicals production and so on and so forth. So that's right. By the way, this situation about the coronavirus clearly showed how important the science for the, could be said, general life of society, how it is important anyway. So in my country, the involvement of the universities, technical universities, other the support of to the healthcare coming with the new, would be said, new solutions. So this was the application of the scientific findings to the practical life, showed clearly how the science and research and development and universities important is. By the way, now I'm a little bit selfish looking in my lifetime career, lifetime track. We see currently how the statistics important is, because the statistical modeling of the processing and forecasting what is expected and what's going based on the broad streaming of the data from the healthcare statistics from hospitals. This is the statistical modeling of testing of the population here in this country is absolutely fantastic. I'm very glad that that's clearly shows how statistics is important for everyday life. Oil prices and crude oil prices and the further development, I think there is no question that this current development will continue. That's very difficult. I mean, very low prices. So I have no expectation of some changing the situation. I think that the prices will be depressed, and it shows that the limiting or restriction of the mining of oil crude, it doesn't work. It depends on the, let's say, of the reserves of the oil in the US and other factors, the behaving of the players like Arab states, Saudi Arabia, Russia, South America. But I think that what the markets tell us now, that's clearly the tendency of the very low prices of the oil, undermining of a lot of economic activities, a lot of sectors in current global world economy, and striking the regions, individual regions or areas of the world. That's clear. That's the clear signal that this current global problems have to be solved globally on the level of international organizations, international financial institutions, governments, or such structures like European Union and others actually represent.
Prime Minister,
and I'm sure. So sorry.
How would you like evaluate the solidarity which European Union is showing? I mean, it's the leadership of the European Union, European Commission.
You see, I would say that the Commission at the beginning of the crisis, and just frankly speaking, the behaving of the approach, I would say, and the approach of the Commission was a little bit hesitating and a little bit slow, not proactive as one would expect. So the individual European or individual member states were forced to produce individual solutions, and then paradoxically criticized from the side of Brussels that you are too individualistic, you are too selfish. We should coordinate the approach to the closing of the borderlines and so on and so forth. But it was not the Commission which would take the initiative in its hands, and it was very needed, and it would be very helpful at the beginning of the crisis. Just after some, let's say, weeks, when the situation in some in the European countries like Italy, Spain, and France has been worsening very dramatically. Only in this point, at this phase, the Commission and European Union bodies started to be more active, namely looking how to help, how to support these countries, how to let's say boost the wave of solidarity in some material way, and how to organize the things after the crisis, and how to evaluate the impacts of this COVID-19 consequences, and to find and to look for, let's say, common approach and common solutions, and how to fix the situation in the most efficient and most effective way. But I think that we are somewhere at the starting point, at the beginning, and it will still be the very heated debate inside the European Union, and specifically in Eurozone, how to treat the situation, what will be the optimal vehicles for the optimal solutions. And the views are not, let's say, unified, and the views are, let's say, diverging so far. No wonder, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the scientists, what they call is the Bill Gates. Today, he made a statement that the antibiotics against COVID, it's going to be like, find out in 2 years only. And which means, like, it's going to be affecting us in a winter period when there is a flu period, which is like very bad. And yesterday, a week ago in Mexico, the president of Mexico already closed the researching of the oil production, because it's no more beneficial, like, to spend money in order, like, to research on that. Definitely. But how it's possible, like, small countries like Azerbaijan or Czech Republic or, different other countries are handling situation, or Latvia, handling situation much better than the big countries and super powerful countries. We have less
that could be that clearly. Yeah. It seems that firstly, it shows that let's say, the scientific potential and scientific capacities or capabilities of many of these, they say, small countries are on a pretty high level, well organized, well arranged, with the sense for applications. So I think that these small countries, having on mind could be said, a financial and economic potential, because it's extremely expensive doing this kind of, or making this kind of research or scientific research. But what's the way for these countries is joining of the projects organized by could be said, at least leaders or masters of the research which have the very strong and very let's say high economic or financial support from the side of governments and private subjects, private institutions, but the could be said a common effort to find the remedies for this depressing or healing this COVID-19, how to depress it, how to, let's say, mitigate the healthcare consequences. That's very important to join the effort globally to have the common projects well organized. I think that there are some, let's say, focal points of the progress, very well progressing countries or institutions within countries. Israel, other in the US, and United Kingdom, in Germany, and so on and so forth. But I think that the small countries with their potential in this field and this area can be very helpful with their know-how to input their know-how into this great or major projects which have been developed all over the world. So joining the efforts, not to diverge it, not to diversify, but to, let's say, integrate the efforts, because I think that the finding of the efficient medicals and vaccination, I would say, I would stress the vaccination is way out at the end of the day. Vaccine is the could be said the keyword in fighting the COVID-19, and do it before this terrible virus, new type of the virus. We haven't got any experience about it to not to allow to the virus to make some mutations or something like that, to change behaving and so on and so forth. So as soon as possible to find out the medicals and to find out the vaccine. This is the I think the number one.
Prime Minister, the last question is, how do you see the world after the COVID-19 pandemic? I mean, how the leadership is going to behave and how human beings are going to behave?
I think that's, you see, there are, let's say, going the crowds of prophets and forecasters saying this and that, and openly and frankly speaking, no one has the crystal ball in his or her hand to say how this planet will look after the COVID-19 crisis. By the way, which can be repeated and come as a new wave. Hopefully, it doesn't happen, but it's not excluded. What's pretty clear, I think, that I guess that the world will be different than it was before. This is a very bitter lesson. Testing the we were talking about solidarity. It's testing the solidarity. It's testing the behaving of all the world order. It's testing the efficiency of the international organizations under umbrella of the United Nations and others, international financial institutions. It's testing the potential of the governments. It's testing could be said, the geopolitics. It's testing the behaving of the superpowers during the crisis and after crisis. That's very difficult to say how the US is, let's say, evaluating the situation after COVID crisis. What will be the role of China? What will be the role of Russia? Let's say, fixing the current economic and global economic problems, and what to do after. There is no, could be said, no recipe so far, and no one has revealed it, what its vision anyway. So we will see. That's the testing the responsibility of the leaders, their treatment of the people they are responsible for. That's not a song about the next wave of next round of elections or something like that. It's long-term issue, and the politicians are usually thinking in very short-termist way, and it doesn't have the place here in this situation. So we will see. I would like to stay optimistic, because every crisis, that's clear finding anyway, classical finding, that every crisis that has not only victims, that's not bringing just troubles, but every crisis also brings new impulses for human interactions, for science, for technologies, for politics, for geopolitics. So I do believe that also this crisis, which is immense, we haven't seen many years ago something like that, but we have now the vehicles or instruments how to solve it anyway. So that's optimistic. But I do believe that the nations will not, let's say, close themselves in some, could be said, in some shells, and that the global things will be actually solved in global way. There is a lot of challenges, by the way, for organization and arranging of the science development, research, universities, and so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward very much to meeting people, to shaking the hands again, which hasn't been possible so far. It will be very, I'm looking forward to sitting in my favorite cafes in Prague and other corners of Europe and all over the world. I'm looking forward very much for meeting with people which I have been collaborating so far to discuss these troubles issues, and to look at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel, which tunnel is pretty long, but not endless. That's a very important thing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, that's true. That it will need lots of solidarity. And I liked a lot what you said: testing responsibility and testing solidarity. And maybe sometimes the world needs, like, a wake-up call, that the people can start realizing back that what they need, like, to evaluate, and what they need to have to value a lot. Thank you, Prime Minister, so much for your time. It was so
That's nice. What I do believe, by the way, what you said. That's what I do believe. Okay, fine. It was pleasure on my side to have this very good online chat, and hopefully we stay in touch with you and with your institution, with Nizami Ganjavi International Center, which is doing highly appreciated what you are doing anyway. And the important is that you haven't stopped, and you are, let's say, looking how to arrange the things in this situation. And that's also, this crisis is testing the flexibility. And You are the nice example how to do the things. Thank you.
Thank you so much.